put up one of the emails that someone cold pitched to me,
cool.
and I'd like to get the expert's opinion on where they went wrong and and what could be tweaked here to make it a lot better. Okay, so can you see this on the screen, Laura?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Yeah. So the subject was web mobile development and digital marketing. Okay. Do you like it? Would you change it a little bit?
It's like wah, wah, wah. First of all, like, who other than sales emails like caps every word, right? It's like nobody writes like that. So write like a human, first of all. Tell me maybe like a little bit about why I should care, first of all. And also this length looks like it would disappear in my inbox. So think about like what we talked about, like how can you be a little curiosity inducing? How can you stand out? Maybe that's using unusual punctuation. That's worked really well for me in the past, but how can you make it look different? How can you, this is the part where all of that programming from like through middle school through high school of don't be different, get into the crowd. You got to get the same shoes as everybody. You got to have the same hairstyle. This is the part where all that programming, you just have to be like, that's done. We're finished with you. I have to be different. This is the part where you have to embrace that.
Love it. Okay, now we're moving to the first sentence, the greeting. The greeting is interesting. It just literally says hello. There's no name. There's no nothing. It's just hello. Is that okay?
No. That looks like a copy paste job. Yeah.
Okay, so it helps to say, hey, Laura, or hey, Anf, right?
Yeah. Or like, what's up? Or like, at least make it sound like friendly.
And this is also the friendly part here, right? So the friendly part is, I hope you're doing great. Well, I think that's
as opposed to what? Like, I hope you're doing horrible. Like, seriously. Come on. Like, you could at least say, like, hope your 2022 is off to a great start. Like, at least have some relevance.
Fantastic. And I've deliberately pulled the person's name out here. I don't want to, do the thing. Then the next sentence was, hey, I'm A, that the name. So name is there, cool. Which, intro. Okay, here we go. Being a digital agency, we believe you get a lot of clients who come across a lot of technology needs, and it's important that you are able to cater each one of them. I'm feeling that's not very personalized. Like, it doesn't feel like they've done any research on what my challenges are. Like, that's kind of, yes, of course, every digital agent or digital agency has that kind of issue, or has that desire. But where would you say that could be done better, or how could it be done better?
I would say like this is a good spot. This like beginning part of your email called the hook, because you're literally reaching out. It's like a fish hook. You're like reaching out and trying to hook your reader's attention and to keep them glued to the screen so they don't get distracted by the millions of notifications, right? So what can you say here that would hook them? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a compliment. Just because compliments work so well, there's been research that's been done that shows your brain fires. Like when you receive a compliment, your brain fires in the same way it would if I gave you cash, like cold, hard money, cash. Your brain interprets like a compliment in that same fashion. So how can you give your reader some cash? How can you brag on them a little bit? As Brian Harris says, he's the founder of Video Fruit. And I love that phrase. Like, how can you brag on them? Everybody doesn't want to brag about themselves, but they would love it if you bragged a little bit about them, to their face. So how could you do that? So that's the spot where you want to do it. Don't waste this space. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'd go more than just saying, hey, I love your podcast or I love your blog. Like, I think that's so, like, everyone does that. I think if you can get very specific to, hey, I love this episode where you had Laura on, you talked about email marketing. That's very relevant to what we do. Maybe condense that into a sentence, but or like what you did with Noah, where, hey, I featured you in this article. Take a look. Like, that's really, I think people like to see that you've taken an effort to do something. You've added value somewhere before you're sending this email to them.
Yeah, definitely. And on that point, if you have a takeaway or they change something in your life or your business because of their content, tell them. because a lot of times we just take in more information and more content, and it makes a difference, but we never go back to the person who gave us that idea or gave us that aha moment to let them know, like, hey, what you did made a huge difference, and here's what I'm doing with that information. That's what they really want to hear. Not just that, hey, I'm a big fan of your podcast, but like what you guys talked about, like really changed my approach to cold email marketing, and I'm going to be doing blah, blah, blah from now on. It's like, that is gold right there.
Yeah. You've made an impact to me in some way. That's kind of what you're communicating. Right. Let's move on. So we've got, however, now they're moving into a challenge. They've sort of introduced a challenge, and they've gone into a deeper, expanded on the challenge. The bottleneck is technical limitation, which you may have in-house. However, you don't want to lose out, and that's where our company plays an important role. Now they're kind of moving into the benefit, which is we've got 150 plus skilled workers full-time, etc., who have your back. What would you do differently here?
What's in it for me? Why should I care? Why do I need this? Do I need this? How do I tell if I need this? If I'm spending 60 plus hours working in my business a week and I'm not happy, does that make me need this? Or if I'm spending 20 hours a week working in my business, do I still need this? Why do I care? How can you answer that question for them? How can you help them see that what you are offering is the solution to their problem? Because as soon as you put that on the page for them, they're going to say, oh, Amph understands my problem. I really want to work with him because he put it on the page. Of course he understands. So of course he's going to be able to know how to solve the problem.
And I think that's where, if you have a case study, that could be very relevant. If you could share, this is what Darren had. This is the challenge he had before, we started working together. Yeah. He couldn't sleep at night because he's working 80 hours a week, and he just had a baby, and like you probably tell some of that story, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Tell a little story here, and you can even follow that same problem, agitation, solution, which dovetails really nicely into your call to action at the end, and say, would you like to get on a 15-minute call to discuss how we can make this work for you? It leads you so nicely into that.
100%. Okay, so now we get to the call to action. I think your call to action is great. What's wrong with the call to action?
There's no action. There's no call. He says, let's connect. Okay, cool. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? You just put this on me. Okay, I have enough work. I'm moving on. But if you ask a question, humans are naturally inclined to want to answer that question. We don't like to leave it unanswered, which is kind of why movie trailers work so well. Like, why is Tom Cruise hanging off the side of an airplane? What happened? How is the world going to end this time? I need these answers. So just use that. Put one question in your email, make it the call to action, put it at the end. I will say that A did a good job in breaking up the space on the page. I'm assuming that you copied and pasted kind of directly from their email.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that in mind, because as you mentioned earlier, people are reading emails on this like tiny little screen, right? That computer we carry around in our pockets. So keep in mind that that is probably the screen people are reading on, not like I'm looking at a monitor that's like 20 inches, right? Like it's big. My email is going to look a lot different on a big monitor versus that small screen. So use frequent paragraph breaks. And this person, A, did a good job of that.
Good job, A. So I don't know if A is ever going to watch this, but maybe I should send this video to them.
That would be interesting.
And then go sign up for Laura's course training, because I think there's a lot of work.